What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Through Your Eternity, Season 3, Episode 18. So in this episode, the chase is still going on in the school. You know, Tanari's able to help everyone get outside, and then a lot of Fushi's other revived friends arrive. They help her. They help them get and you have a march, on the bear, so a lot of them get on. Now Tanari ends up being controlled by the knockers, and yeah, so and then basically then with that, she goes to attack, but then so it seems like time is frozen. Like the fake Fushi gets burned, like it be a skeleton, but it still revives before tonight. And then so when everything's frozen, so you see all the possessed people are now humans are under control of the knockers, and so the beholder had frozen everyone, and yeah, so basically then yeah, and Fushi seems to help them at times, but it's like holy crap. Yeah, so it seems like the beholder offers for the help, I guess heal to help Tanari or something. And yeah, so looks like there's gonna be a struggle next week of trying to free Tanari from the from the from the knockers. Then at that little bunker, whatever, Fushi's trying to hold it the knockers off so everyone else can escape. And you see some of Yuki's backstory. Yeah, and then so they get outside, bond their eyes with some others, like with Horitoshi, and then so Misaha wakes up saying that she'll stay and do her duties as the head of the Guardians, and she'll try to help, I guess, get a peaceful resolution. That I don't know how in the world Misaha is still alive. She fell I don't know how many feet it was. I don't know how many feet from the she fell, but I mean she should be dead. So I mean I don't know if the now okay. A lot depends on I'll know I mean she should be dead. I mean now is it possible it's the knockers dead, not her? Okay. I haven't read this I've only read one chapter in the manga, so I haven't gotten this far in the manga. So yeah. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I'm sure that will be explained. But man, it is so freaking confusing what's going on. So I mean, looks like I mean Fushi transforms, but he keeps getting shot. So it's okay, is he losing those forms or whatever? It's insane. But yeah, it's it's definitely it's definitely interesting what's going on. Okay, because you see all the guardians, they look like a cult or something. I mean, they are a cult. Around them, so now everyone has to so now Yuki asked for Mizuha to still come to school, hang at the cult club and all that. They want her to be friends with all of them. So yeah, okay. Yeah, that's gonna be insane. So it's gonna be a question. Okay, so a puppet Fushi was used to basically to attack a school. Now, basically, almost everyone is brainwashed by Fushi, so by the Guardians. So that's gonna cause a problems, at least by the knockers. So yeah, then you have and of course you have I don't know what's gonna happen with all those girls there. They just like I'm assuming they're just gonna stay. Some everyone's gonna hide where's that yeah. So it's gonna be insane. Like it's gonna be weird what's going on. So I'm wondering how exactly like it's gonna be so yeah. So obviously you have like between Misa it seems like either Misa is in control or the Knockers in control. So so whichever one's control looks like may unless one's just full of crap. Looks like that one is like at least willing to talk. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. Looking forward to the next one. Tojima wants to be a common rider, episode 22. So in this episode, so after being rejected by Thunder Raiko, Nikal asked for he asked for a Tojima and Ichio to like kill him. Ichio says, "How about you try kill?" He's like, he basically Ichio says, "How about you try kill us, Shocker?" And then Ichio says it's a battle royale between the three, so they all do their little transformations, whatever, and basically they all take each other out in one hit. Then Mitsubo and Yukarisu arrive to tell them about what happened with Shocker. So they go to the Funaba's pub to discuss how to attack the the Combat Girls concert, and Yuriko, you know, arrives having recovered from her injuries. She's pissed about not being invited. She's like, "How could you have this discussion without tackle?" And he's like, "Do you remember?" And she brings up a Common Rider Strong review, and everyone reminisce. Everyone they all talk about it. Yukarisu, I guess being shocker means that you would think someone would watch Common. A lot more people in Shocker would watch Common Rider. Like you would think a lot of them would actually watch it. You know, basically, like you would think, which is funny, or at least know about it. And so, yeah, and then so they all infiltrate. Now Kumada is training with Hakyoku. Batman appears, and Kumano tries to tell him what he's learned about humans, and tells Batman not to underestimate him. Batman doesn't take it seriously, and so the concert happens, and obviously the writers obviously their two Shocker allies infiltrate the concert. So Nakao and Yukarisu are disguised as the delivery crew. Mitsuba and Yuriko hide in delivery cases. Tojima and Ichio sneak through the roof. Now, Nakao and Yukarisu are able to get past security, but they come across Nakao's underlings who are, now part of Shocker. Nakao's happy to see him, but he learns that they are now Shocker combatants under Batman's control. So that's going to lead to like a fight next week. So yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Liked how they obviously gather them back together. Obviously they've been setting up a big fight. Looks like things are about to pick up a lot next week. So yeah, I thought it was a you know really good you know episode. Looking forward to the next one. Blue Miburo season 2 episode 11. So in this episode, so yeah, so Hijikata and Soji are fighting Shirizawa, like they're basically like so yeah, the fight's going on. Like basically, they're obviously struggling against Serizawa, and you see some of Serizawa's past where like so like Soju like he does a good attack off, he slashes him, but like he's still not able to finish him off, and Hichikawa's just frozen. He can't do anything, and Soji's knocked back. The door breaks down. Like so, you have the mother with her two kids. The mother of one of the kids runs away. The other kid's just there, is there like Shurizo like yeah. What happens is Shurizo like gets a hallway like Soji like tries to chase him, do an attack, but he's unable. But he like uses like big thrust, multi thrust attack, but Shurizo like basically parries well and knocks the door, and Shurizo like he sees the kid, he remembers his password apart. I guess he considers his big weakness being he can't he's merciful to kids, and I guess like his mentor like encouraged him, basically saying there's not an issue with that. So he's always said no, he can't be, he can't believe this. So he like tries to do an attack, but he hits the door, but he hits like the top of the ceiling of the door frame, so like it gets stuck, briefly stuck. And Hichikata like he been thinking about like, his past, how like he considers Serizawa to be a true samurai, like where he actually has the soul of a samurai, where a lot of the ones he came across with, before he joined the Miburo, like did not have that and the soul of a samurai. So he respects Serizawa. And so he was very when he met Serizawa, he was like a ruffian, but he respected him as like a samurai. And then yeah, and believes that Soji and Serizawa are names who are gonna be remembered across the ages. He doesn't consider himself one that will be remembered. And so part of the reasons for this because like Hijikawa was born a peasant while Serizawa was traditional samurai. So Hijikawa like was considered like how could he a peasant be able to strike a samurai? And Serizawa tells her like yeah you filthy peasant where like when they're in the first room, and now Hijikawa finally gets some resolve, and he stabs Serizawa, like very much like where he's coughing up blood. So like he's like really injured, but like Serizawa still knocks him down with his and gets the sword out. And so Soji and Hijikawa try to find him. They're unable to find him. Then Serizawa up here comes across Neo, who tells him to follow him. So based on the previews, it looks like Serizawa is about to fight Kondo. So it looks like that duel is happening now. It's gonna be interesting. Like, seriously, I was just like, how in the world? I'm like, how was this guy still alive? And I mean, also he had Soji using like all of ways he could think of to kill Serizawa. Serizawa respected. He's like, hey, you're trying to seek victory. He basically respected it, even though some people would consider it like cheating. And yeah, so dude. And there's like a brief scene of Yamanami talking to this lady. Guess he's trying to talk her down. Where it looks like she threatened to kill herself. Where and so yeah, and then yeah. So this is definitely interesting. So yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Really like this like the fight and all that. Yeah, good combat. So yeah, so it looks like we're about to have a duel between Kondo and Serizawa as a way to end it. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. And the count, episode 9. So in this episode, so the little combat between Class A and Class B still going on. So Kiyomi Urusagawa comes across Eru Kusaba. Now Kusaba, so she has a power. Her cyberkinesis is like basically she's like a it's like a mind it's like a like a she can summon this object where she steps on it, she gains ability associated with like some boy she was into. Basically how it works, she falls for someone very quickly. Basically as soon as the guy shows interest, she loses interest. And how she gets the guy to show interest is dress up, like wear wigs, outfits, whatever, claim to be interesting. Basically tries to portray a guy's ideal woman. And basically, I guess she's had like a bunch of boyfriends over her life. And so she fights Urusagawa. And the reason Kusama says she wants to prevent Urusagawa from getting there is because she's concerned about Urusagawa reaching Kasubata if he's basically Kusama assumes that Wagari's gonna beat the living crap out of Kasubata, and that Rusagawa will get there, try to comfort Kasubata. Kasubata will fall for her. Kusama says it's basically because she's into Kasubata. She's also into Soji, but like I mean she's into I guess a bunch of dudes. I mean then like so you see like how she see them all use her abilities. You see Rusagawa's backstory where she was like a obsessed fan over like over this, the bassist Kureha, and like basically she accidentally summons like her cyberkinesis when she was young, like and like it accidentally attacked like a classmate, and like that's when Azuki found her and invited her, I guess, to come to me in the academy. And it's funny, so Kusaba, enabled to try to throw Risagawa off her game, shows her a like a picture of Kureha in like basically in bed with her. Basically, she Kusama claims that she like had sex with Kureha. And now during the fight, they're like in this like on the like around the hot springs, whatever. Basically, Kusama starts ripping her clothes, and then she like shreds Rusagawa's clothes. So like basically, they both have torn clothes. And Rusagawa gets pissed. She doesn't basically Kusama like shocked at how Rushika on the cover. Rushika says, "Dude, it's like I know that's a doctored photo." So basically, Kusama had doctored the photo just for that circumstance. Rushika says, "Do you really think I wouldn't recognize that selfie of him in bed that he posted?" And she gives the exact date and time. And Rushika says she had fantasized of being in bed with him. And she's like, "Do not question a super fan." And I was just busting out laughing the whole thing. And then they fart roll around the thing. And like basically by the time they get into I guess this bath or whatever, they're both like butt naked, and they yeah, and then, like, basically they just like yeah they're exhausted. They're like yeah we're done. So basically it's a draw. Yeah, it's definitely a weird fight. And so Soji's fighting Daisurugi, the flame bather, who basically broke like a gift, the gift that Soji got from his sister. And so yeah, and you see some of Sarugi's backstory where he like would be very excited by people's comments. I guess basically he liked to troll people, and he would get very excited over comments. Like he liked either being really liked or really hated. He didn't like anything in between. Now, yeah, basically it was like he was like turned on. He would be turned on by both things. Now you had Minoru Wagari. Wagari hates Tsurugi for being a flame bather. He hates people. He hates flame bathers because based how some of them are, they're just pricks. They're just pricks in the internet. But like he kind of he likes the fact that Tsurugi's at least honest and like Tsurugi's not pretending to be good. So he actually admires that about Wagari, like admires that about Tsurugi. So Tsurugi's like, I'm getting hated and loved at the same time. What is this feeling? And Soji like is just showing disinterest. He's like, I don't even care about. Like he like Tsurugi's like telling Soji, hate me, come on, hate me. And Soji's like, I don't even care about you. And then he's able to beat Tsurugi. And like, I guess disinterest is like the Tsurugi's big weakness. And then so you have Kasubata still fighting Wagari, and then yeah, and then you see Rinri Hasumi arrives, says he's there to help, and then he stabs Kasubata. It's revealed that Rinri had come across Kiri Namikawa, who did not take part in last year's uh Class A versus Class B fight. In order because I guess there were less people, they needed the numbers to be even. So he sat out. So like Akashi didn't know what Namikawa's like cyberkinesis is. Turns out it's hypnosis. So like Hasumi like was hypnotized to attack Kasubata, and Kasubata's like on the ground. Basically, Namikawa and Wagari assume that they're beaten, and Kasubata gets up saying like he's not done, and like basically Namikawa tries to hypnotize him, but Kasubata does a scream to throw Namikawa off his game. And he actually hypnotizes himself to dance. So Namikawa is using him, and so Kasubata decides to tries to do one last ditch effort to fight. Some of the teachers are like, we should end this. We don't want our students to die. Like, they're concerned about Kasabata dying. Kasabata is like basically yells for teachers to stay out of it to that he wants to be the one to finish it. And so he pulls out his weapon, prepares for looks like one last attack, which I'm guessing is probably gonna lead to a Kasabata's victory. And that's gonna be interesting. Like I want to see that. I want to see the last bit of that fight. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Really interested in this fight. So yeah, it was a good fight. Basically looks like I think Wagari's the only one left. I mean, Namikawa's basically hypnotized himself. He's basically all but out of it if he's not officially out. Kusaba's out. I think Owada's out. And yeah, so honestly, have whatever's going on with Imoto. Like he's like obviously kind of a coward. Like there's some issues like obviously that looks like they're gonna have to be dealt with. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. I like the flashbacks. Like they developed a bunch of characters in this. Like there's some develop all these fights. It was freaking awesome. But yeah, so yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Come of the Brave, episode 9. So in this episode, so Yashiro learns about party, hosted by one of the demon lords. So he's trying to investigate Ishinu's death. And so Jugabine and Yukine come in asking for more training. And so Yashiro decides to have them join him on like his basically on his like on the mission to the party, and he texts Sarah, telling her about it, and Jogomai is annoyed that Yashiro exchanged contact information with Sarah but not with her, and so she and Yukine asked for contact information. Yashiro's okay with Yukine. He's a little more hesitant when it comes to Jogomine. I can understand. I feel like Jogomine would be pretty annoying with it. Like, so that scene was so freaking funny. Like, I was freaking laughing. So when they arrive, Yashiro has Sarah pick out dresses for herself, Yukine and Aki. Basically, because Yashiro's concerned that he doesn't trust Yukine and Jogomine in picking out their own clothes. Yeah, I could see Jogomon like taking forever just with his personality when it comes to shopping. So then, they all four go to the party, and then Yashiro gives a fake name as like the for the invitation. The name's not on there. And then once that name's on there, so they do so Yashiro tells them to not like make a scene at first, to not stare at anyone, like because there's multiple demon lords there. But then once the ID comes up as not being once the name comes up as not being on the list, Yashiro pulls out like his E3 and says and uses it, showing that he's a brave. And then he starts attacking some of the gangsters, and he tells the three girls to use E3 to fight. So then the fight starts. So yeah, I thought this was a good episode. That was funny. So basically, the reason Jogomai came down the first was because I guess Yashiro was not at the I guess like the exam, whatever. How Jogobin used, I guess, some of the Yashiro's non-lethal techniques to win, which I thought was freaking funny. Dude, that whole conversation game was freaking hilarious, and Jogobin's reaction to her dress is so freaking funny. Because I mean, I was just laughing. I was like, this definitely because definitely Jogomai has a very innocent personality, and you see the dress that Sarah picked out for her. Like Juggalo is like she's like, why should I be like? Because Juggernaut did not want to be wearing a dress like that. Yashra just like Sarah claims that Yashra picked out. Juggernaut's oh, okay, that's fine then. I was like, really? She like really? She calmed down after that. Now Yashra was annoyed at how Juggernaut interpreted like the non-lethal techniques. Basically, Yashra just didn't want believe that killing them would cause some like some of those games would cause some problems. But And Yashua tells Joe, hey, if you're gonna read my mind, look, if you're gonna read my basically make sure you actually get a good. He's like, if you're gonna read my mind again, get a good read. And Jogomai gets nervous because I guess she takes it weirdly, saying is like, she's like, we should get to know each other first for that. And Yashua was definitely not intending it that way. Yeah, definitely not. No. He's like, that was a more annoying response than I expected. And yeah, dude, it's a very funny episode. I mean, just you have Yashra being very serious. The rest, other ones are very non-serious. So it's an interesting banter. It's funny. Everything's played for laughs. I thought it was freaking funny. I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Um, Kokorowa's Rice Journal. So this is like a two-part special that premiered like a few weeks ago on Crunchyroll. Finally got around to watching it. So basically, this is after the main series, after the show. So this is focused on Kokorowa. So she's returned to the capital now. She's having trouble writing a book because you remember Sakuna saying she's wanting to win like an author. Now Sakuna doesn't know that Kokorowa is the actual author because Kokoro uses a pen name, and so Kokoro is trying to write a new book, but she's basically having writer's block. And she goes to a market, comes across a lady Ukitama who's an author goddess, and she like basically talking about Ukitama's talking about her own work along with I guess Kokorowa's work, and so yeah, Kokoro decides to get some life experience in order to get ideas for the book. So she decides to when coming across Sakuna, she decides to she decides to actually grow some rice, try to get some more real life experience. Grow some rice on Hino Island with Sakuna. Sakuna is hesitant to allow it because she's like it's difficult. Kokoro I guess doesn't know how difficult it is, but Sakuna reluctantly allows her to do it. So Kokoro decides to find a less used field on Hino Island to do it, and she has her automation to help deal with the farm. And having some automation actually does help a little bit. And so now Tallman crushes her rice seedlings at a point, and her automations break down because of overheat. So she has to do a lot, tend to fields herself. She collapses from exhaustion. Everyone else heals herself back to help. Tallman explains that reason he crushed the seedlings was to help them grow. Basically, he explains because he knows how to farm, so he explains exactly how it's done, how why he crushed it, and so Kokoro's like okay. So Kokorowa accepts help from others. Now she's called back to the capital, learning that her automations are malfunctioning. 'Cause basically, she had checked them, before leaving, so she didn't think there would be a problem, but she fixes whatever the problem was, and and she remembers like basically before she was an author, she written her own thoughts on stuff, and there was some kids who were making fun of her this is like when she was little, and she met Sakuna who liked what she wrote. Then she got a message on when she forgot one of her books. She got found a message with the book saying to publish it, and I guess she exchanged messages with whoever it was for a while. I don't think she ever learned who it was. Now, Ukitama, who is she meets Ukitama, who talks about Kokoro's pin name with Kalshi, Obarozuki. Kokoro says she heard that Kalshi is going to release a new book very soon. So Kokoro sails back to Hino Island, trying to grow rice and publish her book. And Kokoro continues to help the group, Sakuna's group, and she's built some new tools to help, but she's still with deal with writer's block. Now Kokoro's fields over flood, and Tallman tries to help her learn more about growing crops. And Kokoro's rice starts sprouting, and she goes to tell everyone else, but the plant hoppers have poisoned the crops, like Sakuna's crops. So the wither crops are removed, and Sakuna heads to the volcano, get the flaming core so he can save the fields. And Kokoro tries to do a bug repelling ritual to protect the to keep bugs away from the plants. Now Kokoro later that night sees some plant hoppers going towards a cave where her ship is. And she learns that the ship had brought the plant hoppers to the island. So she tries to get rid of them, but the bugs merge into this monster called Ushioni, and her automations are overpowered. So Sakuna and Tama save her and learn that there's a barrier stone empowering the Ushioni. So Sakuna and Kokorowa team up and defeat the monster. And so then they harvest the rice, and then Kokorowa is able to publish her book, which is called The Story of Rice Cultivation. And Ukitama is impressed with it and says, I guess she says she wants to meet the real you know Hoshi at some point. So see, based on where Ukitama was saying, it's implied that she may have been one who sent that initial message, I guess years before to Kokorowa. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's confirmed to be the case, but yeah. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was decent. Special. Just a little epilogue thing. Just Kokoro trying to write a book and grow rice along the way. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was a you know decent set of episodes. You know, yeah, I thought it was thought it was good. Interesting way to bring some of these characters back for just a little slice of life thing. Well, and that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.